Greetings survivors and friends, SHADOWFRAX here with your latest pre-digested Rust development PC master race news, and as we approach the Ides of July, we have a few upcoming changes to discuss, as well as a whole turtle's worth of new stuff that started poking its head out of the shell and getting well and truly curious, including jungle ruins. But first, there have already been a couple of client and server hotfixes this month, and as usual, you can read the details of exactly what was included on the official Rust Discord, but to mention some of the most important ones, there was a fix to explosive damage not damaging doors in some situations, and electric heaters not giving warmth to plants directly in front. Travelling vendors will now trigger the safe zone warning UI in the top right of the screen if a player is within 200 meters. Bikes and sidecars shouldn't be able to end up on opposite sides of a thin wall. Handcuffed players can now be force-mounted to code-locked cars. The friendly gesture has been renamed to Surrender, and a warning's been added to say that it will allow other players to access your inventory. And what I find fascinating is that there's a story behind each and every one of these. The travelling vendor's getting a few other tweaks. It's getting an angry horn, I presume for when you lot insist on standing in front of it. There's the removal of infinite stock. Instead it will refill every 33% of the vendor's total lifetime, and the aggro radius is being reduced. Ziplines are being improved. Each platform will feature 4 additional dismount points, 2 on the side and 2 higher up, which will allow for smoother transitions between multiple ziplines with less climbing involved. In addition, ziplines are being tweaked to prioritise destination points that are both further away and higher up, maximising the distance travelled and minimising the time spent climbing ladders. On a 4K map, these changes will increase the average zipline distance from 121 to 188 metres, and the total server-wide zipline length will be expanding from 20 to 31 kilometres. Also, players will no longer be dismounted from ziplines if they clip into trees. There are, of course, systems in place to stop trees spawning in the way, but sometimes crap happens, hence this change. There's a rather tasty change to the way objects dropped in water behave. No longer will they plummet into the depths as if they were in air. Now, thanks to an increase in drag, they will realistically succumb to dropity and will also receive a gentle physics impulse every 1 to 2 seconds to simulate the effects of underwater currents. Not only, but also a new visual splash effect is triggered when items hit the water, enhancing both the realism and the visual cue for players. Because you're worth it. There was a body of work taking place to make footsteps of non-teammates sound different to those who are teammates, but this idea wasn't very popular, and it seems that the brakes are being pumped on it. Hoods and cuffs are still subject to change. The belt is now locked during surrendering or being handcuffed to match other inventories, and because of this, an equip hood radial menu is being added to apply the prisoner hood to a handcuffed player instead. In other changes, there's some initial work to support burnouts and fast turns with control on bikes, more work on the Rattown Redux, which I think is still slated for September's patch, which is shaping up to be a rather big one. Recycler lighting's being reworked. It looked like poop, but now I'm told it will look like good poop. More efforts going into the Cliffs rework. Again, probably a September thing, as that's when a lot of proc-gen changes should be getting implemented by the team. There's more work on the Frontier Hatchet and on the Blunderbuster, both of which I think are going to be DLC skins. Wolf AI is getting a rework, it seems, and work's begun on a bunch of new stuff in the commits, which I'd like to get your opinion on. For instance, a legacy woodpile, which I believe is a new shiny resource node type thing. Don't believe it's replacing anything, just new. Likewise, a food cache is being worked on, and I'm told this will also be a new loot container for water wells, of all things. There's initial work on a boomerang. Also, a tin can alarm. Not much else can be said about these at the moment, though. We've also got quite a few commits about wallpaper now, and you may remember these images from the distant past. I believe this is the intention. I'd wager it'll be some kind of DLC, but the possibilities are endless. Padded walls, anyone? I can think of a few people who would benefit from that one. What sort of wallpaper would you like to see, though? And lastly, check these commits out. Not only is there a snakes branch with a pit viper being mentioned, but I imagine to go with that, and possibly the tiger we know they're working on, there's a jungle ruins monument being crafted. Now, I'm told this is, surprise surprise, a new biome that will be coming to Rust, but you shouldn't expect to see anything on this until next year. So you've got a lot of time to prepare yourselves mentally, is all I'll say, and I will of course show and tell whatever I can get my hands on whenever it comes into grabbing range. Let me know what you think to all of the above and whether anything excites you in the comments. Leave a like and a sub if you enjoyed this update, and feel free to join me elsewhere, such as Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Discord, and my Steam group. Links are below. You can support this channel here with YouTube memberships and Patreon too. I shall catch you all soon, but in the meantime, keep calm and stay rusty. Cheerio. Because you're worth it.